Zizhi Tongjian, Chronicles of Zhou, 2. This video stays true to the original text, featuring readings in both classical and vernacular Chinese or English. Beginning in the year of Guizhou, Zhiang Shi Fanruo, and ending in the year of Gangshen, Shangzhang Kunden, this period covers a total of 48 years. The first year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Guizhou, 368 BC. The state of Qi attacked the state of Wei and captured Guanjin. The state of Zhou invaded the state of Qi and took possession of the Great Wall. The third year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Yimao, 366 BC. The leaders of Wei and Han met at Shaiyang. The state of Qin defeated the armies of Wei and Han at Luoyang. The fourth year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Bingchen, 365 BC. The state of Wei attacked the state of Song. The fifth year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Dingxi, 364 BC. Duke Xian of Qin defeated the armies of the three Jin, Shao, Wei, and Han at Shimen, beheading 60,000 enemy troops. The king bestowed upon him ceremonial robes embroidered with Fu and Fu patterns. The seventh year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Jiwei, 362 BC. Wei defeated the armies of Han and Shao at the Wei River. Qin and Wei fought at Shaoyang. The Wei army suffered a crushing defeat, and Gongsanguo of Wei was captured. Duke Sheng of Wei passed away and was succeeded by his son, Marquis Qin, named Su. Duke Huan of Yan passed away and was succeeded by his son, Duke Wan. Duke Xian of Qin passed away, and his son, Duke Shao, succeeded him. Duke Shao was 21 years old at the time. At that time, there were 6 powerful states east of the Yellow River and Mount Shao, and more than 10 small states between the Huai and Xi rivers. Chu and Wei shared borders with Qin. Wei built a great wall extending north from Zong along the Luo River and held Shangjun. Chu controlled the area south of Hanzhong, including Bao and Qianzhong. They all treated Qin as a barbarian tribe, ostracizing and rejecting it, and forbidding it from participating in the meetings and alliances of the central states. Thereupon, Duke Shao determined to strengthen his state. He promoted virtue and reformed the administration, aspiring to make Qin powerful. The 8th year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Gangshen, 361 BC. Duke Shao issued a decree to the entire nation, stating, "In the past, our ancestor Duke Mu cultivated virtue and exercised military might in the region between Qi and Yong. To the east, he quelled the internal strife in the state of Jin and established the Yellow River as our boundary. To the west, he asserted dominance over the Rong and Di tribes, expanding our territory by 1,000 miles. Even the Son of Heaven bestowed upon him the title of hegemon, and all the feudal lords came to offer their congratulations, creating a most glorious and magnificent foundation for future generations." Unfortunately, during the turbulent reigns of the former rulers Dukes Li, Zhou, Jian, and Chuzi, the state was plagued by internal strife and instability, leaving no time or energy to attend to foreign affairs or strategic expansion. The three Jin states took advantage of our weakness to seize the Heshi lands belonging to our late rulers. There is no greater humiliation than this. When Duke Xian ascended the throne, he pacified the borders and moved the capital to Yeyang. He intended to launch an eastward campaign to reclaim the ancestral lands of Duke Mu and restore the administrative policies and decrees of that era. Whenever I contemplate the aspirations of my late father, my heart is filled with constant pain and sorrow. Among our guests and ministers, should anyone propose a brilliant strategy to strengthen Qin, I shall confer upon him a high office and share my territory with him. Consequently, when Gongsan Yang of the state of Wei heard of this decree, he traveled westward to enter the state of Qin. Gongsan Yang was a descendant of the ruling house of Wei through a concubine's line, and he had a profound interest in the study of legalism, the school of names and punishments. He served the prime minister of Wei, Gongshuqiu, who recognized his exceptional worth but had not yet found the opportunity to recommend him to the king. It happened that Gongshuqiu fell seriously ill, and King Wei of Wei went to visit him, asking, "Gongshu, if your illness should prove fatal, what shall become of our state and its altars of soil and grain? Gong Shuqiu replied, among my subordinates is a young man named Wei Yang. Though he is young, he possesses extraordinary talent. I beg your majesty to entrust the entire nation to him and heed his counsel. The king remained silent. Gong Shuqiu continued, if your majesty will not employ Yang, then you must kill him. Do not allow him to leave the country. The king gave his word and departed. Gong Shuqiu summoned Yang and explained, I must put the interests of the sovereign before my subordinates, so I first devised a plan for the king, and only now do I inform you. You must flee immediately. Yang said, if the king cannot follow your advice to employ me, how can he follow your advice to kill me? In the end, he did not depart. After leaving, the king said to his attendants, Gong Shu is gravely ill. How tragic. He wants me to entrust the state to Wei Yang, and then advises me to kill him. Is this not utterly preposterous and contradictory? After arriving in Qin, Wei Yang sought an audience with Duke Shao through the favorite official Tongjian, presenting his methods for enriching the state and strengthening the military. The duke was greatly pleased and consulted with him on the affairs of the state. The 10th year of King Xian, the year of Ren Su, 359 BC. Wei Yang wished to change the laws, but the people of Qin were displeased. Wei Yang said to Duke Shao of Qin, the common people cannot be consulted at the start of a new undertaking, but they can share in the joy of its successful completion. Those who pursue the highest virtue do not conform to common customs, and those who achieve great things do not consult the masses. Therefore, if a sage can strengthen the state, he need not follow the old ways. Gong Long said, that is not so. By governing according to existing laws, officials are familiar with their duties and the people feel secure. Wei Yang replied, ordinary people are content with old customs, and scholars are immersed in what they have learned. These two types of people are fit only to hold office and observe the laws. They are not those with whom one can discuss matters beyond the law. The wise create laws, while the foolish are controlled by them. The virtuous change the rights, while the unworthy are bound by them. The duke said, well said. He appointed Wei Yang as the left Shu Wang and finally finalized the decree for reform. The decree organized the people into groups of 5 and 10 households to monitor each other and share collective liability. Those who reported criminals were rewarded the same as those who beheaded enemies in battle, while those who concealed criminals were punished the same as those who surrendered to the enemy. Those with military merit were granted noble ranks according to a set scale. Those who engaged in private feuds were punished with varying degrees of severity based on the gravity of their actions. Those who devoted their efforts to the fundamental occupations of farming and weaving and produced a large quantity of grain and cloth were exempted from personal labor service. Those who engaged in secondary profitable activities or became poor through laziness were seized and made government slaves along with their families. Members of the ruling family who had no military merit were not permitted to be listed in the official register of the nobility. The ranks of nobility and their corresponding status were clearly defined. The distribution of land, houses, slaves, and clothing styles was determined according to these specific rankings. Those with merit enjoyed honor and glory. Those without merit, however wealthy they might be, were not permitted any display of prestige. Once the new laws were prepared but not yet promulgated, Wei Yang, fearing the people would not trust them, had a 3-zhuang wooden pole erected at the south gate of the capital's marketplace. He announced that anyone who could move the pole to the north gate would be rewarded with 10 pieces of gold. The people found this strange, and none dared to move it. He then announced again, anyone who can move it will be given 50 pieces of gold. Finally, one man moved it, and he was promptly given the 50 pieces of gold. Only then was the decree officially issued. After the laws had been in effect for a full year, thousands of Qin people came to the capital to complain about the inconvenience of the new decrees. At this juncture, the crown prince himself broke the law. Wei Yang said, the laws are not being observed because those at the top are breaking them. As the heir to the throne, the crown prince cannot be subjected to physical punishment. Instead, punish his tutor, Prince Qian, and tattoo the face of his teacher, Gong Sanjia. The following day, the people of Qin all hurried to comply with the decrees. After 10 years of enforcement, the state of Qin reached a state where lost items on the road went uncollected, and no bandits haunted the mountains. The people were courageous in state wars but timid in private feuds, and the towns and villages were perfectly governed. Those Qin people who had initially complained about the inconvenience of the lost now came forward to say how convenient they were. Wei Yang said, "These are all people who disrupt the law." He banished them all to the border regions. Thereafter, none of the people dared to discuss the laws. I, Sima Guang, say, honesty and credit are the most sacred and precious treasures for a monarch. A nation is preserved by its people, and the people are sustained by their trust in the ruler. Without credit, there is no way to direct the people. Without the people, there is no way to defend the nation. Therefore, the kings of old did not deceive the world, the hegemons did not deceive their neighbors, those skilled in governing a state did not deceive their people, and those skilled in managing a family did not deceive their kin. Those unskilled in governance do the opposite. They deceive neighboring states, deceive their own people, and in extreme cases, even deceive their brothers and their own fathers and sons. The superior does not trust the subordinate, and the subordinate does not trust the superior. Thus, they become estranged, leading eventually to ruin. The benefits gained cannot heal the damage caused, and what is acquired cannot compensate for what is lost. Is this not truly lamentable? In the past, Duke Huang of Qi did not break the covenant forced by Chao and Mo. Duke Huang of Jin did not covet the gain from attacking Yuan. Marquis Huang of Wei did not abandon his appointment with the forest keeper, and Duke Shao of Qin did not rescind the reward for moving the pole. These four rulers were not perfectly virtuous, and Lord Shang was especially known for his ruthlessness. Living in an age of warfare where the world favored deceit and force, even they dared not forget to use trust to nurture their people. How much more so for those conducting the governance of a peaceful and unified world? Marquis Yi of Han passed away and was succeeded by his son, Marquis Shao. In the 11th year of King Xian, 358 BC, Qin defeated the Han army at Xishan. In the 12th year of King Xian, 357 BC, the rulers of Wei and Han met at Hao. In the 13th year of King Xian, 356 BC, the rulers of Shao and Yan met at A. Later, the rulers of Shao, Qi, and Song met at Pinglo. In the 14th year of King Xian, 355 BC, King Wei of Qi and King Wei of Wei met for a hunt in the suburbs. King Hui asked, "Does Qi also possess any treasures?" King Wei replied, "None." King Hui said, "Although my state is small, I still possess 10 pearls, each an inch in diameter, capable of illuminating 12 carriages both in front and behind. Could it be that a large state like Qi has no treasures at all?" King Wei said, "What I consider to be treasures is different from what you do. I have a minister named Tanzi. Since I sent him to guard Nanqing, the people of Chu have not dared to invade, and the 12 feudal lords along the Sea River have all come to pay court. I have a minister named Panzi. Since I sent him to guard Gaotang, the people of Shao have not dared to cross the river eastward to fish. I have an official named Qianfu. Since I sent him to guard Shuzhou, the people of Yan offer sacrifices toward the north gate, and the people of Shao offer sacrifices toward the west gate in respect. Over 7,000 households have moved to follow him. I have a minister named Shong Shou. Since I assigned him to guard against thieves, no one picks up lost items on the road. These 4 ministers shine for 1,000 miles. How can they be compared to something that merely illuminates 12 carriages?" King Hui looked ashamed. Duke Shao of Qin and King Wei of Wei met at Duping. Duke Gong of Lu passed away and was succeeded by his son, Duke Kang, Mao. In the 15th year of King Xian, 354 BC, Qin defeated the Wei army at Yuanli, beheading 7,000 soldiers and capturing Shaoyang. King Wei of Wei attacked Shao and besieged Handan. The king of Chu sent Jing Shi to rescue Shao. In the 16th year of King Xian, 353 BC, King Wei of Qi sent Tianji to rescue Shao. Earlier, Sun Bin and Pan Wang had studied the art of war together. Pan Wang served as a general in Wei. Realizing that his own abilities were inferior to those of Sun Bin, he summoned him. When Sun Bin arrived, Tang Wan used the law to have both of his feet amputated and his face tattooed, hoping to render him a useless outcast for life. When an envoy from Qi arrived in Wei, Sun Bin met him secretly as a convict and used his eloquence to persuade the envoy. The Qi envoy secretly carried him back to Qi. Tianji treated him kindly as an honored guest and introduced him to King Wei. King Wei consulted him on military strategy and subsequently took him as his teacher. King Wei planned to rescue Zhou and wanted to appoint Sun Bin as the commander. Sun Bin declined, saying that a man who had undergone such punishment was not fit for the position. Thus, King Wei appointed Tianji as commander and Sun Bin as military advisor. Sun Bin stayed inside a covered carriage, sitting down to formulate strategies and plans. Tianji intended to lead his majestic army directly to the state of Zhou to rescue his besieged ally. Sun Bin calmly advised, one who tries to untangle a messy knot should not pull at it with clenched fists. One who tries to stop a fight should not get involved by punching and grabbing alongside the brawlers. We should strike the enemy's vital points and crush their vulnerabilities. When their formation is obstructed and their momentum is restrained, the crisis will resolve itself naturally. Currently, as Wei and Zhou attack each other, Wei's agile and elite troops must be fully committed abroad, while only the elderly and weak remain exhausted at home. It would be better for you to lead our troops swiftly to the Wei capital, seize its main roads, and strike where they are currently most vulnerable. They will surely release Zhou to save themselves. In this way, we can resolve the siege of Zhou with a single move while reaping the benefits of Wei's exhaustion. Tianji followed his advice. In the 10th month, Handan surrendered to Wei. As the Wei army returned, they engaged in battle with Qi at Guiling, where the Wei forces suffered a crushing defeat. The state of Han attacked eastern Zhou and captured Lingguan and Linqiu. Zhou Shishu was the prime minister of Chu. Jiang is said to the king of Chu, there was a man who loved his dog. Once, the dog fell into a well. A neighbor saw it and wanted to go inside to tell the owner, but the dog guarded the door and bit him. Now, Zhou Shishu always dislikes my meetings with you. It is exactly like that dog. Furthermore, when people see someone who likes to praise others' virtues, your Majesty says, this is a gentleman, and you draw him close. But for someone who likes to expose others' faults, your Majesty says, this is a villain, and you keep him at a distance. In that case, even if a son were to murder his father or a minister were to murder his ruler, your Majesty would end up never knowing. Why? Because you love to hear the praises of others and loathe hearing of their misdeeds. The king said, well said. I wish to hear both sides of the matter. In the 17th year of King Xian, 352 BC, the Grand Deyang Zhao Wei Yang of Qin launched an attack on Wei. The feudal lords besieged the Wei city of Xiangling. In the 18th year of King Xian, 351 BC, Wei Yang of Qin besieged the Wei city of Guiyang and forced it to surrender. Under great pressure, the people of Wei returned Handan to Zhou and formed a covenant with Zhou along the Rong River. Marquis Zhao of Han appointed Shen Buhai as prime minister. Shen Buhai was originally a lowly official from Sheng who studied the teachings of Huang Lao and legalism to seek favor with Marquis Zhao. Marquis Zhao employed him as prime minister to manage internal governance and education while handling external relations with feudal lords. For 15 years, until the end of Shen's life, the state was well governed and the military was powerful. Shen Buhai once requested an official position for his cousin, but Marquis Zhao refused, and Shen showed a look of resentment. Marquis Zhao said, the reason I study with you is that I wish to govern the state well. Now, should I grant your private request and thus abandon your own methods, or should I implement your methods and thus reject your request? You once taught me to reward merit and observe the proper order of precedence. Now that you have a private request, which one should I follow? Shen Buhai then vacated his quarters and asked for punishment, saying, you are truly the right man for the throne. Marquis Zhao had a pair of ragged trousers and ordered them to be stored away. An attendant said, your Majesty is truly ungenerous. Instead of giving them to your attendants, you store them away. Marquis Zhou said, I have heard that a wise ruler treasures every frown and every smile. A frown is for a reason, and a smile is for a purpose. Now, aren't these trousers even more significant than a frown or a smile? I must wait for someone with merit before awarding them. In the 19th year of King Xian, 350 BC, Shang Yang of Qin constructed the GK Palace buildings at Xianyang and moved the capital there. He ordered that it was forbidden for fathers, sons, and brothers to live together in the same room. He merged various small townships together to form counties, appointing a magistrate and an assistant for each. In total, there were 31 counties. He abolished the well-field system, broke down the boundaries between fields, and standardized the measures of capacity, weight, and length. The monarchs of Qin and Wei held an informal meeting at Tong, exchanging diplomatic views at the wilderness border. Marquis Qin of Shao passed away, leading to a violent conflict between Prince Xia and the crown prince over the throne. Ultimately, Xia was defeated and forced to flee to the neighboring state of Han. In the 21st year of King Xian, the year of Guiyu, 348 BC, Shang Yang of Qin further revised and improved the national taxation system and forcefully implemented it nationwide. In the 22nd year of King Xian, the year of Jiaosu, 347 BC, Prince Fan of Shou gathered loyalists to launch a coup by attacking the capital Handan, but the operation failed, and he died in the ensuing chaos. In the 23rd year of King Xian, the year of Yihai, 346 BC, the state of Qi executed its high official, Councillor Mao. Duke Kang of Lu passed away, and his son Yan succeeded to the title, known historically as Duke Jing of Lu. The state of Wei further downgraded its title to Marquis and began to fully submit diplomatically and politically to the three Jin states of Han, Shao, and Wei. In the 25th year of King Xian, the year of Dingzhou, 344 BC, the various feudal lords met for a grand audience and alliance at the capital, Luoyang. In the 26th year of King Xian, the year of Wu Yin, 343 BC, the king of Shou officially conferred the title of Western Hegemon upon Duke Shao of Qin. Subsequently, the various feudal lords sent envoys to congratulate Qin. Duke Shao of Qin sent Prince Shouguan to lead an elite army to join the various lords at Fenza for an alliance, and together they attended the king of Shou. In the 28th year of King Xian, the year of Gangchen, 341 BC, the Wei general Pang Wan led a massive army to fiercely attack the state of Han. With its survival at stake under Wei's fierce assault, Han urgently sent envoys to request military assistance from Qi. King Wei of Qi gathered his civil and military officials to discuss strategy, posing a core question: is it better for us to rescue Han early, or would it be more advantageous to rescue them late? Prime Minister Zhou, Marquis Qin, offered his advice: I think it is better not to rescue them at all, let them destroy each other. General Tianji countered: if we do not rescue them, Han will soon be crushed and annexed into Wei's territory, making Wei even stronger. Therefore, we must send troops to save them as early as possible. The genius strategist Sun Bin analyzed: if we rescue them while the armies of Han and Wei are not yet exhausted, it would be equivalent to us bearing the brunt of Wei's fierce attack on behalf of Han, and in the end, we would ironically have to follow Han's orders. Furthermore, Wei now has the ambition to swallow Han in one gulp. Once Han truly faces the brink of destruction, they will inevitably turn eastward and plead even more humbly for Qi's rescue. By using this opportunity to forge a deep bond with Han while waiting to exploit Wei's exhaustion, we can secure substantial interests while winning a noble reputation for rescuing the weak. King Wei was greatly impressed and said, "Excellent." He then privately promised help to the Han envoys and sent them back after comforting them. Relying on Qi's secret support, Han resisted fiercely but lost 5 successive battles against Wei. In ultimate despair, they turned completely toward Qi, entrusting their national fate to them. Qi then mobilized a massive army, appointing Tianji, Tianying, and Tianpan as generals, with Sun Bin as the military strategist. While ostensibly rescuing Han, they actually struck directly at the Wei capital of Dalian. The Wei general Pang Wang was terrified to hear his own capital was under threat. He immediately withdrew from Han and hurried back with his exhausted army. Wei mobilized its national resources to raise a massive army, appointing Crown Prince Shen as the commander in an attempt to intercept and annihilate the Qi forces. Sun Bin said to Tianji, "Those soldiers of Wei have always been arrogant and fierce, looking down on Qi from the bottom of their hearts. Qi's reputation among the feudal lords has always been one of cowardice. A brilliant commander should adapt to the existing psychological state of the enemy and guide the situation to a direction favorable to our army." The classics of war state: a forced march of 100 li to seek advantage will lead to the downfall of the commander. A forced march of 50 li will result in only half the army arriving on time. Thus, Sun Bin ordered the Qi army to dig 100,000 cooking stoves upon entering Wei territory on the first day, reducing it to 50,000 on the second day, and only 20,000 on the third. After chasing for 3 days and seeing fewer stoves, Pang Wan shouted in ecstasy, "I knew the Qi army was cowardly. They have only been in my territory for 3 days, and more than half of their soldiers have already deserted." In his urgency, Pang Wan abandoned his main heavy infantry and led only a small force of elite light troops, marching day and night in a desperate race to catch the Qi army. Sun Bin precisely calculated Pang Wan's itinerary, foreseeing that they would reach the mailing path by dusk. The mailing path was extremely narrow and flanked by boulders and thickets, creating a treacherous terrain perfect for an ambush. Sun Bin had the bark stripped off a large tree to reveal the white wood and wrote 6 large characters on it. Pang Wan dies beneath this tree. Next, Sun Bin selected 10,000 of the best archers in the Qi army and had them ambush both sides of the road with powerful crossbows. He ordered, "As soon as you see a light by the tree, fire all at once." Sure enough, Pang Wan arrived at the large tree in the darkness. Seeing characters on the trunk, he ordered his soldiers to raise a torch to read them. Before Pang Wan could finish reading the sentence, 10,000 arrows poured down like a torrential rain from both sides. The Wei army fell into absolute chaos instantly, with soldiers scattering and trampling one another. Seeing his stratagems exhausted and his army annihilated, Pang Wan drew his sword and committed suicide in despair, roaring before he died, "To think I have actually facilitated the great fame of that crippled boy, Sun Bin." Taking advantage of the victory, the Qi army launched an all-out offensive, completely destroying the Wei forces and capturing the commander, Crown Prince Shen of Wei. Prime Minister Zhou had long harbored a deep grudge against Tianji's military achievements. He sent a man with 10 pieces of gold to a fortune teller in the marketplace, who declared loudly, "I am the man of General Tianji." The man then asked the fortune teller, "I serve as a general and have won 3 battles out of 3. Now I wish to undertake a great matter, implying rebellion. Is it feasible?" As soon as the fortune teller left, Zhou sent prearranged men to arrest both the fortune teller and the impostor, using them as ironclad evidence of Tianji's rebellion. Upon hearing the news, Tianji found it impossible to prove his innocence. In extreme grief and indignation, he led his private followers to attack the Qi capital, Linzi, seeking to capture Zhou and demand justice. Since the defenses of Linzi were strong, Tianji failed to take the city. Realizing all was lost, he had no choice but to flee Qi with a few followers and seek refuge in the southern state of Chu. In the 29th year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Xunzi, 340 BC, Wei Yang said to Duke Zhou of Qin, "The relationship between Qin and Wei is like a person suffering from a fatal disease of the heart and stomach. Either Wei annexes Qin, or Qin must annex Wei." Why is that? Wei occupies the strategic high ground west of the mountain ridges, with its capital at Anli. It borders Qin along the Yellow River and monopolizes the advantages of the lands east of the mountains. When powerful, they invade Qin to the west. When weak, they retreat to consolidate their lands in the east. Now, thanks to your wisdom, our state is flourishing. Meanwhile, Wei was crushed by Qi last year, and the other lords have turned against it. We should seize this opportunity to attack Wei. Wei cannot withstand Qin and will surely move its capital eastward. Then, Qin can rely on the natural defenses of the rivers and mountains to dominate the lords in the east. This is the foundation of an imperial undertaking. Duke Zhou followed his advice and commissioned Wei Yang to lead an army against Wei. Wei sent Prince Ang to lead their forces in defense. When the armies faced each other, Wei Yang sent a letter to Prince Hong saying, I was once a friend of yours. Now that we are generals of opposing states, I cannot bear for us to attack each other. Let us meet in person, swear a covenant, drink joyfully, and withdraw our troops to bring peace to the people of Qin and Wei. Prince Hong agreed and met with him. After the covenant was sworn, they drank together. But Wei Yang had concealed armed men in ambush. They surprised and captured Prince Hong, then attacked the Wei army and crushed it. King Wei of Wei was terrified and sent an envoy to offer the lands west of the Yellow River to Qin for peace. He then abandoned army and moved the capital to Dalian. He then sighed and said, I regret not following the words of Gongshu Kyo. Qin infested Wei Yang with 15 settlements in Shang and Yu, and he was known as the Lord of Shang. Qi and Shao then attacked Wei. King Xian of Chu passed away, and his son Shang, known as King Wei, succeeded him. In the 31st year of King Xian, 338 BC, Duke Shao of Qin passed away, and his son King Huan succeeded him. The followers of Prince Qian accused the Lord of Shang of plotting rebellion, and officials were sent to arrest him. The Lord of Shang fled to Wei. The people of Wei refused to accept him and sent him back to Qin. The Lord of Shang then went to his fief in Shangyu with his followers and raised troops to attack Shang to the north. The people of Qin attacked the Lord of Shang and killed him. His body was torn asunder by chariots as a public warning, and his entire family was exterminated. Initially, when the Lord of Shang served as prime minister, his use of the law was harsh and cruel. He once executed prisoners by the Wei River until the water turned red. In his 10 years as prime minister, many people resented him. Xiaoyang visited the Lord of Shang, who asked, In your observation of my governance of Qin, who is more worthy, I or the 5-ram-skin officer? Xiaoyang said, The subservient yes of 1,000 men is not worth the honest no of one upright scholar. May I speak the truth all day without being punished? The Lord of Shang said, Agreed. Xiaoyang said, The 5-ram-skin officer was a commoner from the remote parts of Chu. Duke Mu raised him from tending cattle and placed him above the common people. No one in Qin dared to rival him. During his 6 or 7 years as prime minister of Qin, he campaigned eastward against Shin, thrice installed monarchs in Jin, and once saved Chu from disaster. In his position as prime minister, he did not ride in a carriage when traveling on duty, nor did he use a canopy to shade himself from the summer heat. When he traveled through the capital, he was not followed by a train of carriages, nor did his guards carry shields and spears. When the 5-ram-skin officer died, men and women in Qin wept, children stopped singing their songs, and those pounding grain stopped their rhythmic chants. Now, regarding your own situation, you gained access to the duke through a favorite eunuch, Tongjian. In your administration, you have oppressed the royal family and harmed the common people. Prince Qian has not stepped out of his door for 8 years. You also killed Xu Huang and tattooed the face of Gong Sanjia. The Book of Songs says, He who gains the people flourishes, he who loses the people collapses. These actions of yours are not the way to win the people. When you go out, your rear carriages are filled with armed men. Robust and strong men serve as your personal guards, and those holding spears and halberds run alongside your carriage. If any one of these protections is missing, you dare not go out. The Book of Documents says, He who relies on virtue prospers, he who relies on force perishes. These several things are not reliance on virtue. Your danger is like the morning dew, yet you still covet the wealth of Shangyu, cling to the administration of Qin, and accumulate the resentment of the people. If the king of Qin should one day depart this life and no longer attend court, will those in Qin who wish to seize you be few indeed? The Lord of Shang did not follow his advice. 5 months later, the disaster struck. In the 32nd year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Jiashin, 337 BC. In this year, the famous prime minister of Han, Shen Buhai, who had directed reforms for 15 years, passed away. In the 33rd year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Yu, 336 BC. The Taijiu shrine in the state of Song was lost or destroyed. Mencius, a native of Zhou, went to see King Wei of Wei. The king said, "Old man, since you have come from 1,000 li away, do you have something to benefit my state?" Mencius replied, "Why must your majesty speak of benefit? There are only benevolence and righteousness." If the king asks how to benefit his state, the officials ask how to benefit their clans, and the commoners ask how to benefit themselves, then those above and below will compete for profit, and the state will be in peril. There has never been a benevolent person who neglected his parents, nor a righteous person who put his lord last. The king said, "Well said." Earlier, Mencius studied under Zizhi and once asked what the first priority in governing the people should be. Zizhi replied, "First, benefit them." Mencius asked, "A superior man teaches the people only through benevolence and righteousness. Why must he mention benefit?" Zizhi said, "Benevolence and righteousness are indeed the means to benefit them. If the ruler is not benevolent, the people will lose their place. If the ruler is not righteous, the people will delight in deception. This would be a great disadvantage indeed. Therefore, the Book of Changes says, benefit is the harmony of righteousness. It also says, utilize benefit to secure one's person, thereby exalting virtue. These are the greatest of benefits." I, Sima Guang, say, the words of Zizhi and Mencius are identical in essence. Only the benevolent understand the benefit of benevolence and righteousness, the non-benevolent do not. Therefore, when Mencius spoke to the king of Liang, he mentioned only benevolence and righteousness without touching upon benefit, because the person he was speaking to was different. In the 34th year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Bingshu, 335 BC, Qin attacked Han and captured Yan. In the 35th year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Dinghai, 334 BC, the kings of Qi and Wei met at Shuzhou to acknowledge each other as kings. Marquis Zhou of Han built a high gate. Zhou said, "You will surely not go out through this gate." "Whoa! It is not the right time." What I mean by time is not about auspicious days. People naturally have tons of fortune and tons of misfortune. In the past, when you were fortunate, you did not build a high gate. 2 years ago Qin took Yan, and this year there is a drought. Instead of comforting the people in their distress, you become more extravagant. This is what is meant by acting grandly when fortunes are declining. Therefore, it is not the right time. King Wujiang of Yu attacked Qi. The king of Qi sent someone to persuade him that attacking Qi would not be as beneficial as attacking Chu. Consequently, the king of Yu attacked Chu. The people of Chu soundly defeated him. Taking advantage of their victory, they seized all the former lands of Wu and reached as far east as the Zhujiang River. Yu was thus disintegrated. The members of the royal family competed for power, with some becoming kings and others becoming lords. They resided along the coast and submitted to Chu as vassals. In the 36th year of King Xian of Zhou, the year of Wuzi, 333 BC, the king of Chu attacked Qi and besieged Shuzhou. The high gate of Han was completed. Then Marquis Zhou passed away, and his son, King Xian Wei, succeeded him. Initially, Su Qin, a native of Wuyang, attempted to persuade the king of Qin with strategies for annexing the world, but the king of Qin did not adopt his propositions. Su Qin then departed and persuaded Duke Wan of Yan, saying, "The reason why Yan is not plagued by invaders or embroiled in warfare is that Zhou serves as a shield to your south." Furthermore, if Qin were to attack Yan, the battle would take place 1,000 miles away, but if Zhou were to attack Yan, the battle would be within 100 miles. To neglect the danger within 100 miles while being preoccupied with a threat 1,000 miles away is the height of strategic miscalculation. I hope your majesty will form a vertical alliance with Zhou to unite the world as one, then the state of Yan will surely be free from peril. Duke Wan followed his advice and provided Su Qin with carriages and horses to persuade Marquis Su of Zhou, saying, "At present, among the states east of the mountains, none is stronger than Zhou, and there is none that Qin fears more than Zhou. The reason Qin dares not mobilize its troops to attack Zhou is that it fears Han and Wei might plot against its rear. When Qin attacks Han and Wei, there are no famous mountains or great rivers to limit them, they slowly encroach upon their lands like silkworms, stopping only when they reach the capital. Han and Wei will not be able to withstand Qin and will inevitably submit as vassals to Qin. Once Qin is free from the constraints of Han and Wei, the calamity of war will directly strike Zhou. Based on the maps of the world, I see that the combined territory of the various lords is 5 times that of Qin, and I estimate their combined troops to be 10 times those of Qin. If the 6 states unite as one and exert their combined strength westward to attack Qin, Qin will surely be defeated. Those who advocate for the horizontal alliance all wish to carve up the territories of the various lords to give to Qin. If Qin succeeds, they will personally gain wealth and honor, while showing no concern for the calamities that befall their own states. Therefore, the advocates of the horizontal alliance labor day and night to intimidate the various lords with the power of Qin, all to seek the ceding of land. Thus, I hope your majesty will consider this matter thoroughly. In my humble estimation, nothing would be better for your majesty than to unite Han, Wei, Qi, Chu, Yan, and Zhou in a vertical alliance to oppose Qin. Let the generals and ministers of the world meet by the Guang River to exchange hostages and form a solemn covenant. The agreement shall state, if Qin attacks one state, the other 5 shall each dispatch elite troops to either harass Qin or come to its rescue. Should any state fail to abide by the agreement, the other 5 shall unite to punish it. With the various lords united in an alliance to exclude Qin, its troops will surely not dare to venture beyond Hango Pass to harm the states east of the mountains. Marquis Su was greatly pleased. He treated Su Qin generously, honored and favored him with gifts, and commissioned him to form agreements with the other lords. At that time, Qin sent Xishou to attack Wei, soundly defeating its army of over 4,000 men, capturing General Longjia, taking Diaoyin, and showing intent to advance further east. Su Qin feared that Qin's troops would reach Zhou and ruin the vertical alliance. Thinking there was no one in Qin he could use, he provoked Zhang Yi into anger and directed him to go to Qin. Zhang Yi was a native of Wei who had studied the art of political maneuvering under Master Digo together with Su Qin. Su Qin considered himself inferior to Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi traveled among the lords but found no opportunities and was in dire straits in Chu. Su Qin intentionally summoned and humiliated him. Zhang Yi was enraged, thinking that among the lords, only Qin was capable of troubling Zhou. Consequently, he went to Qin. Su Qin secretly dispatched his retainers to provide Zhang Yi with gold and gifts, enabling Zhang Yi to obtain an audience with the king of Qin. The king of Qin was pleased with him and appointed him as a guest minister. The retainer took his leave, saying, Master Su was concerned that a Qin attack on Zhou would ruin the vertical alliance. Believing that only you could grasp the levers of power in Qin, he provoked you and sent me to secretly fund you. This was all according to Master Su's plan. Zhang Yi said, Alas! This was within the scope of my own training, yet I failed to realize it. I am truly not as brilliant as Master Su. Thank him for me. As long as it is Master Su's time, how could I dare speak out against him? Thereupon Su Qin persuaded King Xianwei of Han, saying, The territory of Han spans over 900 li, with hundreds of thousands of armored soldiers. The world's strongest bows, mightiest crossbows, and sharpest swords all originate from Han. Han soldiers shoot by stepping on the crossbows, firing 100 bolts in rapid succession without a moment's pause. With such bravery, clad in solid armor, operating powerful crossbows, and wielding sharp swords, it is no exaggeration to say that one Han soldier can withstand 100 enemies. If your majesty serves Qin, they will surely demand the strategic territories of Yan and Qingao. If you hand them over this year, they will return next year to demand even more land. Giving it means eventually having no land left to offer. Refusing to give means discarding all previous efforts and suffering subsequent disasters. Furthermore, your majesty's land is limited, while Qin's demands are endless. To meet an infinite demand with limited land is what is called purchasing resentment and inviting disaster. The land is already diminished even before a single battle is fought. As the common proverb says, better to be the beak of a chicken than the rump of an ox. With your majesty's wisdom and the powerful army of Han, To bear the reputation of being an ox's rump, I feel deeply ashamed for you. The king of Han followed his advice. Su Qin persuaded the king of Wei, saying, Your Majesty's territory spans 1,000 li. Though named small, the number of farms and houses is so great that there is not even a place left for grazing. The population is vast and the carriages and horses are so numerous that they move day and night without end. The thunderous roar of the traffic sounds like the movement of a great army. In my humble estimation, Your Majesty's state is no less prosperous than the state of Chu. I have heard that Your Majesty's army includes 200,000 elite warriors, 200,000 green heads, 200,000 fierce strikers, and 100,000 service corps. With 600 chariots and 5,000 cavalry, it is surprising that you listen to the talk of your ministers and wish to serve Qin. I hope Your Majesty will reconsider this carefully. Therefore, my king of Shao has sent me to offer this humble plan and sacred covenant, conveying his message to you. The king of Wei listened and complied. Su Qin persuaded the king of Qi, saying, Qi is a state protected by natural barriers, with a territory spanning over 2,000 li, hundreds of thousands of troops, and grain piled high as mountains. The excellence of the three armies and the soldiers from every household are such that they advance like sharp arrows, fight like thunder, and disperse like wind and rain. Even when there is war, your troops have never had to turn their backs on Mount Tai, cross the Qing River, or wade through the Bohai Sea. In the city of Linzi alone, there are 70,000 households. In my estimation, with no fewer than 3 adult males per household, you have 210,000 troops right there without even drafting from far-off counties. Linzi is extremely wealthy and prosperous. Its citizens all engage in cockfighting, dog racing, chess games, and kickball. On the roads of Linzi, the wheel hubs of carriages clash and people's shoulders rub together. Their connected sleeves form curtains, and their white-off sweat falls like rain. The reason Han and Wei fear Qin so deeply is that they share common borders with it. Once the troops are out and meet in battle, the decisive moment for victory or defeat, life or death, is settled within 10 days. Even if Han and Wei defeat Qin, they will lose half their troops and be unable to defend their borders. If they lose, destruction will follow immediately. That is why Han and Wei are so reluctant to fight Qin and find it easier to become its vassals. Now, a Qin attack on Qi would be different. They would have to cross Han and Wei territory, pass through Yangjin of Wei, and traverse the narrow passes of Kungfu, where carriages cannot ride side by side and horses cannot march abreast. At such a bottleneck, 100 men on defense could prevent 1,000 from passing. Even if Qin wished to strike deep, they would look back like wary wolves, fearing that Han and Wei might plot against their rear. Thus, with their threats, bluffs, and arrogance, they dare not advance. It is clear then that Qin cannot harm Qi. Not to deeply consider Qin's inability to affect Qi and instead wish to serve them is a grave strategic error by your ministers. Now you can avoid the infamy of serving Qin while maintaining the prestige of a powerful state. Therefore, I hope your Majesty will give this some thought. The king of Qi agreed. Then he traveled southwest to persuade King Wei of Chu, saying, Chu is the most powerful state in the world, with over 6,000 li of land, 1,000,000 troops, 1,000 chariots, 10,000 horses, and grain for 10 years. This is the capital of a true hegemon. What Qin fears most is Chu. When Chu is strong, Qin is weak. When Qin is strong, Chu is weak. The two are irreconcilable. Therefore, for your Majesty's sake, nothing is better than joining the vertical alliance to isolate Qin. I ask that you let the states east of the mountains offer seasonal tributes and follow your enlightened decrees. They will entrust their states to you, train their troops, and sharpen their weapons, all for your Majesty to command as you see fit. So, a vertical alliance means the Lord's ceding land to serve Chu, while a horizontal alliance means Chu ceding land to serve Qin. These two strategies are poles apart. Which one will your Majesty choose? The king of Chu also agreed. Thus, Su Qin became the head of the vertical alliance and served as prime minister for all 6 states. When he returned north to report to Shao, his retinue and supplies rivaled those of a king. King Wei of Qi passed away, and his son, King Xian, named Binyang, ascended the throne. Upon discovering that Marquis Qin, Zhou, had framed and betrayed the great general Tianji, King Xian recalled Tianji from exile and restored him to his former position. Duke Wen of Yan passed away and was succeeded by his son, King Yi of Yan. Duke Chong of Wei also passed away, and his son, Marquis Ping, succeeded him. The 37th year of King Xian, the year of Zhichou, 332 BC. King Wei of Qin sent Xi Shao, Gong San Yan, to deceive the states of Qi and Wei, persuading them to join him in attacking Shao, thereby sabotaging the vertical alliance. Marquis Su of Shao rebuked Su Qin for the breakdown of the alliance. Terrified, Su Qin asked to be sent to Yan, vowing to take revenge on Qi and resolve the crisis. When Su Qin left Shao, the vertical alliance he had laboriously forged completely disintegrated. In a desperate move, the people of Shao breached the levees of the Yellow River to flood the armies of Qi and Wei. Facing the deluge, the invading forces had no choice but to withdraw. Wei ceded Yinjin to Qin as a gesture for peace. This city is actually Huayin. The king of Qi attacked Yan and captured 10 cities, but he later returned them. The 39th year of King Xian, the year of Xinmao, 330 BC. Qin attacked Wei, besieging Zhou and Xua. Unable to resist, Wei surrendered Shouyang and the Heshi region to Qin. The 40th year of King Xian, the year of Renshin, 329 BC. Qin forces continued their assault on Wei, crossing the Yellow River to take Fenyan and Pishi, and eventually capturing Zhou. King Wei of Chu passed away and was succeeded by his son Huai, known as King Huai of Chu. Yan, the brother of Duke Ticheng of Song, launched a surprise attack against him. Ticheng fled to Qi, and Yan established himself as the ruler. The 41st year of King Xian, the year of Daisai, 328 BC. Prince Huo of Qin and Zhang Yi led an army to besiege and capture the Wei city of Puyang. Zhang Yi advised the king of Qin to return Puyang to Wei and send Prince Yao as a hostage to Wei. Zhang Yi then persuaded the king of Wei, saying, Qin has treated Wei most generously. Wei cannot be so ungrateful as to show no courtesy to Qin. Wei responded by ceding all 15 counties of Shangjuan as a token of gratitude. Zhang Yi returned and was appointed prime minister of Qin. The 42nd year of King Xian, the year of Zhou, 327 BC. Qin established a county in Isiu and reduced its ruler to a vassal. Qin returned Zhou and Xua to Wei. The 43rd year of King Xian, the year of Wei, 326 BC. Marquis Su of Shao passed away and was succeeded by his son, King Wuling. He appointed 3 mentors for wide learning and 3 officials to monitor errors. He first consulted Fei Yi, an honored official of the late monarch, and increased his rank. The 44th year of King Xian, the year of Bingshen, 325 BC. In the summer, on the day of Wu in the 4th month, Qin first assumed the title of king. Marquis Ping of Wei passed away and was succeeded by his son, the heir ruler, Wei Sijun. A convict from Wei fled to the state of Wei and, through his medical skill, treated the Queen of Wei. Upon hearing this, Sijun sent an envoy to request to buy him back for 50 pieces of gold. After 5 unsuccessful trips, the king of Wei still refused. Sijun then offered to exchange the city of Wushi for the convict. His attendants remonstrated, saying, Is it appropriate to buy a single convict with the whole city? Sijun replied, This is beyond your understanding. In governance, nothing is too small. In disorder, nothing is too grand. If laws are not established and punishments are not certain, then even having 10 cities like Wushi would be of no benefit. If laws are established and punishments are certain, then losing 10 cities like Wushi would do no harm. The king of Wei, upon hearing this, said, When a ruler has such a strong desire, it would be an ill omen not to grant it. He then had the convict loaded onto a carriage and sent him back to Wei as a free gift. In the 45th year of King Xian of Shou, 342 BC, Zhang Yi of Qin led a formidable army to invade the state of Wei and successfully captured the strategic city of Shan. Su Qin had a clandestine affair with the widow of Duke Wan of Yan, which King Yi eventually discovered. Terrified for his life, Su Qin persuaded King Yi, saying, "My presence in Yan does not enhance its prestige. However, if I go to Qi, I can make Yan significantly more influential." King Yi consented to the plan. Su Qin then feigned a crime in Yan and fled to Qi, where King Xian of Qi, unaware of the rules, appointed him as a guest minister. Su Qin encouraged the king of Qi to build towering palaces and expand vast royal hunting grounds to manifest his greatness. His true intention was to drain Qi's resources and weaken the state for the benefit of Yan. In the 46th year of King Xian, 323 BC, Zhang Yi of Qin met with the prime ministers of Qi and Chu at Nyaseng. The rulers of Han and Yan both assumed the title of king, but King Wuling of Shao alone refused, saying, "Without the actual substance of power, how dare I occupy the title?" He ordered his people to address him simply as Lord. In the 47th year of King Xian, 322 BC, Zhang Yi returned to Qin from Nyaseng and resigned as prime minister, subsequently taking up the same office in the state of Wei. Zhang Yi wished for Wei to be the first to serve Qin, setting an example for other lords, but the king of Wei refused. Consequently, the king of Qin invaded Wei and captured Xiua and Pingshu, while secretly increasing his generous support for Zhang Yi. In the 48th year of King Xian, 321 BC, the king passed away and was succeeded by his son Ding, known as King Shenjin. King Yi of Yan passed away and was succeeded by his son Kuai. The king of Qi enfeoffed Tianying with the region of Shui and granted him the title Lord Jingguo. Lord Jingguo suggested to the king of Qi, "Your Majesty must personally listen to the reports and review the accounts of the 5 departments daily." The king followed this at first, but soon grew weary and delegated all authority to Lord Jingguo. Thus, Lord Jingguo was able to monopolize the administrative power of Qi. Lord Jingguo intended to build walls around his fief, Shui. A retainer advised him, "Have you not heard of the giant fish in the sea? No net can stop it, and no hook can drag it. But once it loses its water, even tiny ants can master it." Now, the state of Qi is your water. As long as you possess Qi, what use have you for Shui? If you lose Qi, then even if the walls of Shui were raised to the heavens, how could they be relied upon? Consequently, the plan to build the walls was abandoned. Lord Jingguo had more than 40 sons. Among them was a son born to a lowly concubine, named Wan. Wan was broad-minded and full of strategic wisdom. He persuaded Lord Jingguo to distribute his wealth to support talented retainers. Lord Jingguo placed Wan in charge of domestic affairs and the reception of guests. The retainers, impressed by Wan's abilities, vied to praise his virtues and collectively urged Lord Jingguo to name Wan as his heir. After Lord Jingguo passed away, Wan succeeded him as the Duke of Shui and became known by the title Lord Menchong. Lord Menchong recruited wandering scholars from various states as well as fugitives from justice, providing them all with housing and generous support, and even assisting their families. He constantly supported several thousand retainers, each of whom felt personally valued and favored by him. As a result, Lord Menchong's reputation spread throughout the world. Sima Guang, say, a gentleman supports scholars for the benefit of the common people. The Book of Changes says, the sage nurtures the worthy to benefit the myriad people. The truly worthy are those whose virtue can transform customs, whose talent can revitalize order, whose insight can illuminate details and foresee the future, and whose strength can bind benevolence and solidify righteousness. In the grand sense, they benefit the entire world. In a smaller sense, they benefit a single state. Therefore, a gentleman provides them with ample salaries to make them wealthy and high titles to make them honored. To support one person and thereby benefit 10,000, this is the true way of nurturing the worthy. In contrast, Lord Menchong, in his support of retainers, showed no regard for wisdom or folly, nor did he distinguish between good and evil. He essentially embezzled his sovereign's wealth to build a private faction and inflate his own false reputation. In doing so, he insulted his sovereign above and preyed upon the people below. He was the chief of scoundrels. How could he be worthy of esteem? The Book of Documents says of King Zhou of Shang, he became the protector of all fugitives in the world, a sink and a thicket where all evil gathers. This is exactly what applies to him. Lord Menchong went on a diplomatic visit to the state of Chu, and the king of Chu presented him with an exquisitely carved ivory bed as a gift. The Chu official Deng Tuzi was tasked with escorting the bed, but he was unwilling to go due to the immense responsibility. He privately told Lord Menchong's retainer Gong Sansu, "This bed is worth 1,000 pieces of gold. If it suffers even the slightest damage, selling my wife and children would not be enough to compensate for it. If you can find a way to spare me from this journey, I have a precious sword inherited from my ancestors that I am willing to offer you as a reward." Gong Sansu agreed and advised Lord Menchong, "The reason small states compete to grant you their prime ministerial seals is that you aid the poor, preserve failing states, and restore extinguished lineages. Thus, everyone admires your justice and integrity. But if you accept this ivory bed just after arriving in Chu, how will the states you haven't visited yet be able to receive you properly?" Lord Menchong said, "Well said," and subsequently declined the gift. Gong Sansu hurried away in high spirits. Before he even reached the inner gate, Lord Menchong called him back and asked, "Why are your steps so high and your demeanor so triumphant?" Gong Sansu told the truth. Lord Menchong then wrote on his skateboard, "Anyone who can enhance my reputation and stop my mistakes, even if they profit privately from it, should come and advise me immediately." Sima Guang, comment, Lord Menchong truly knew how to accept counsel. If the advice is sound, he would adopt it even if the advisor had deceptive motives, how much more so for those who serve their superiors with selfless loyalty. The Book of Songs says, "When gathering turnips and radishes, do not reject them because of their roots." Lord Menchong indeed embodied this principle. King Xian Wei of Han wanted to employ both Gong Rong and Gong Shu to lead the government and consulted Miao Lu. Miao Lu replied, "It is impossible. In the past, Jin used 6 ministers and the state was split. Duke Jian of Qi used both Qin Chengzi and Tian Shi and was murdered. Wei used both Xi Shou and Zhang Yi and lost its territories beyond the West River. If you employ both now, the more powerful one will build a faction internally, and the weaker one will rely on foreign powers. When ministers form cliques to defy the ruler or collude with foreigners resulting in the loss of land, your state will be in grave danger." 起朝阳赤奋若，晋赏张困敦，凡48年。显王元年，癸丑，公元前368年，齐伐魏，取关津。赵亲齐，取长城。显王3年，乙卯，公元前366年，魏、韩会于翟阳。秦败魏师，韩师于洛阳。显王4年，丙辰，公元前365年，魏伐宋。显王5年，丁巳，公元前364年，秦献公败3晋之师于石门，斩首6万。王赐以辅服之服。显王7年，己未，前362年，魏败韩师，赵师于会。秦、魏战于少梁，魏师败绩，或为公孙所。魏生公薨，子成侯肃立。燕桓公薨，子文公立。秦献公薨，子孝公立。孝公生21年矣。是时河、山以东强国6，淮、泗之间小国10余，楚、魏与秦接界。魏筑长城，自正滨洛以北有上郡，楚自汉中，南有巴、黔中，皆以夷宅御秦，并斥之，不得与中国之会盟。于是孝公发愤，不得修正，欲以强秦。显王8年，庚申，公元前361年，孝公令国中曰：昔我穆公自齐、雍之间修得行伍，东平晋乱，以和为界，西霸戎宅，广地千里，天子至伯，诸侯必贺，为后世开业甚光美。惠王者立，造、简公，出子之不宁，国家内忧，魏皇外事。3晋攻夺我先君河西地，丑末大焉。献公即位，镇抚边境，徙至岳阳，且欲东伐，复穆公之故地，修穆公之政令。寡人思念先君之意，长痛于心。宾客群臣有能出奇计强秦者，吾且尊官，与之分土。于是魏公孙鞅闻是令下，乃西入秦。公孙鞅者，魏之庶孙也，好行名之学。是谓相公叔痤，痤知其贤，魏即进。会病，魏惠王往问之曰：公叔病如有不可会，将奈社稷何？公叔曰：痤之中庶子未央，年虽少，有奇才，愿君举国而听之。 王默然。公书曰：君即不听用央，必杀之，无令出境。王许诺而去。公书召央谢曰：吾先君而后臣，故先为君谋，后以告子。子必速行矣。央曰：君不能用子之言任臣，又安能用子之言杀臣乎？卒不去。王出，谓左右曰：公书病甚，悲乎！欲令寡人以国听未央也，既有劝寡人杀之，岂不备哉？未央既至秦，因避陈景监以求见孝公，说以复国强兵之术。公大悦，与议国事。显王10年，壬戌，公元前359年，未央欲变法，秦人不悦。未央言于秦孝公曰：夫民不可与律史，而可与乐。称论治德者不合于俗，成大功者不谋于众。是以圣人苟可以强国，不法其故。甘龙曰：不然。远法而治者，利习而民安之。未央曰：常人安于故俗，学者逆于所闻，以此两者，居官守法可也，非所与论于法之外也。智者作法，愚者治焉，贤者更礼，不孝者居焉。公曰：善。以未央为左庶长，卒定变法之令，令民为15而相收司，连坐，告奸者与斩敌手同赏，不告奸者与降敌同罚。有军功者，各以帅授上爵；为私斗者，各以轻重备行大小。戮力本业，耕织质素剥夺者，负其身；世末利及待而贫者，举以为收奴。宗室非有军功论，不得为属籍。明尊卑爵制等级，各以差赐名田宅、臣妾、衣服。有功者显荣，无功者虽富无所分华。令寄居卫部，恐民之不信，乃立3丈之木于国都市南门，牧民有能徙至北门者与10金。民怪之，莫敢徙。复曰：能徙者与50金。有一人徙之，折与50金。乃下令，令行积年，秦民之国都，言新令之不变者以千数。于是太子犯法。未央曰：法之不行，自上犯之。太子，君嗣也，不可施行。幸。其父公子虔请其师公孙贾。明日，秦人皆趋令。行之10年，秦国道不拾遗，山无盗贼，民勇于攻战，怯于私斗，相议大治。秦民除言令不变者，有来言令变。未央曰：此皆乱法之民也。尽迁之于边。其后民莫敢议令。陈光曰：夫信者，人君之大宝也。国宝于民，民宝于信。非信无以使民，非民无以守国。是故古之王者不欺四海，霸者不欺四邻，善为国者不欺其民，善为家者不欺其亲。不善者反之，欺其邻国，欺其百姓，甚者欺其兄弟，欺其父子。上不信下，下不信上，上下离心，以至于败。所利不能药其所伤，所获不能补其所亡，岂不哀哉？西齐桓公不卑曹沫之盟，晋文公不贪伐袁之利，魏文侯不弃于人之妻，秦孝公不废喜木之赏。此次君者，道非翠白，而商君犹称刻薄，又处战功之事，天下趋于诈力，犹且不敢妄信以处其民，况为四海治平之政者哉？韩义侯薨，子昭侯立。显王11年，癸亥，公元前358年。秦败韩师于西山。显王12年，甲子，公元前357年，谓韩会于号。显王13年，乙丑，公元前356年，赵燕会于阿。赵且宋会于平洛。显王14年，丙寅，公元前355年，齐威王、魏惠王会田于郊。惠王曰：其亦有宝乎？威王曰：无有。惠王曰：寡人国虽小，尚有径寸之珠，赵车前后各12乘者10美，岂以其大国而无宝乎？威王曰：寡人之所以为宝者与王异。吴臣有弹子者，石守南城，则楚人不敢为寇，四上12诸侯皆来朝。吴臣有叛子者，石守高唐，则赵人不敢东于于河。吴力有潜伏者，石守徐州，则燕人继北门，赵人继西门，喜而从者7千余家。吴臣有种守者，使被盗贼，则盗不拾遗。此次臣者，将赵千里，岂特12城哉？惠王有残色。秦孝公、魏惠王会于杜平。鲁共公薨，子康公毛立。显王15年，丁卯，公元前354年，秦败魏师于原里，斩首7000级，取少梁。魏惠王伐赵，为邯郸。楚王使景舍救赵。显王16年，戊辰，公元前353年，齐威王使田忌救赵。初， 孙膑与庞涓俱学兵法。庞涓是魏为将军，自以能不及孙膑，乃召之。至，则以法断其两足而擒之，欲使终身废弃。其使者至魏，孙膑以行图阴间说其使者，其使者窃在与之齐。田忌善而克待之，进于威王。威王问兵法，遂以为师。于是威王谋救赵，以孙膑为将，此以行于之人不可。乃以田忌为将，而孙子为师，居自车中，作为计谋。田忌欲引兵之赵，孙子曰：夫解杂乱纷纠者不控权，救斗者不搏己。披抗倒虚，行格势尽，则自为解耳。晋梁、赵襄公，轻兵锐卒必结于外，老弱疲于内。子不若引兵急走魏都，据其街路，冲其方虚，彼必是赵以自救。是我一举解赵之围，而收避于魏也。田忌从之。10月，邯郸降魏，魏师还，与其战于桂陵，魏师大败。韩伐东周，取灵关、廪丘。楚昭奚绪为相，将以言于楚王曰：人有爱其狗者，狗常逆境，其邻人见，欲入言之，狗当门而视之。今朝奚绪常恶臣之见，亦犹是也。且人有好扬人之善者，王曰：此君子也，近之；好扬人之恶者，王曰：此小人也，远之。然则且有此视其父，臣视其主者，而王中己不知也。何者？以王好文人之美，而恶文人之恶也。王曰：善。寡人愿两闻之。显王17年己巳，公元前352年，秦大梁造魏鞅伐魏，诸侯为魏相邻。显王18年庚午，公元前351年，秦魏鞅为魏固阳，降之。魏人归赵邯郸，与赵盟漳水上。韩昭侯以申不害为相。申不害者，正之见臣也，学黄、老、刑名，以干昭侯。昭侯用为相，内修政教，外应诸侯。15年，终申子之身，国治兵强。申子常请示其从兄，昭侯不许，申子有怨色。昭侯曰：所为学于子者，欲以治国也。今将听子之业而废子之术乎？以其行子之术而废子之请乎？子常教寡人修功劳，是次第，今有所思求，我将悉听乎？申子乃辟舍请罪曰：君真其人也。昭侯有币库，命藏之。侍者曰：君亦不仁者矣，不赐左右而藏之。昭侯曰：吾闻明主爱一贫一孝，贫有为贫，孝有为孝。今库岂特贫孝哉？吾必代尧。公者。显王19年辛未，公元前350年，秦商鞅筑济阙宫廷于咸阳，喜都之，令民父子兄弟同室内息者为禁，并诸小乡聚集为一县，县制令城凡31县。废井田，开阡陌、平斗、统、权、衡、丈、尺。秦、魏于同。赵成侯薨，公子谢与太子争立，谢败，奔韩。显王21年癸酉，公元前348年，秦商鞅更为赋税法，行之。显王22年甲戌，公元前347年，赵公子范袭邯郸，不胜而死。显王23年乙亥，公元前346年，齐杀齐大夫谋。鲁康公薨，子景公衍立，魏更贬号曰侯，服属3晋。显王25年丁丑，公元前344年，诸侯会于京师。显王26年戊寅，公元前343年，王智伯于秦，诸侯皆贺秦。秦孝公使公子少官率师会诸侯于冯泽以朝王。显王28年庚辰，公元前341年，魏庞涓伐韩，韩请救于齐。齐为王赵大臣而谋曰：早救孰与晚救？成侯曰：不如勿救。田忌曰：夫救则韩且折而入于魏，不如早救之。孙膑曰：夫韩、魏之兵未必而救之，是吾待韩受魏之兵，故反听命于韩也。且未有破国之志，韩见王，必东面而速于齐矣。吾因身结韩之亲，而晚成魏之弊，则可受。重利而得尊名也。王曰：善。乃因许韩使而遣之。韩因视齐五战不胜，而东委国于齐。齐因起兵，使田忌、田婴、田盼将之，孙子为师，以救韩，直走魏都。庞涓闻之，去韩而归。魏人大发兵，以太子申为将，以御其师。孙子谓田忌曰：彼3晋之兵素悍勇而轻骑，其好为怯。善战者因其势而力导之。兵法 100里而去力者爵上将，50里而去力者军半至，乃使其军入魏的为10万灶，明日为5万灶，又明日为2万灶。庞涓行3日，大喜曰：我故知其军怯，入吴地3日，士卒亡者过半矣。乃弃其步军，与其轻锐备日并行逐之。孙子度其行，目当至马陵。马陵道狭，而庞多阻碍，可伏兵。乃着大树，白而书之曰：庞涓死此树下。于是令其师善射者万弩夹道而伏，7日木见火举而俱发。庞涓果夜到着木下，见白书，以火烛之。毒未毕，万弩俱发，魏师大乱相失。庞涓自知志穷兵败，乃自警曰：遂成庶子之名。其因乘胜大破魏师，虏太子身。成侯邹忌恶田忌，使人操10斤，捕于市，曰：我田忌之人也。我魏将3战3胜，欲行大事，可乎？捕者出，因使人执之。田忌不能自明，率其徒攻临淄，求成侯。不克，出奔楚。显王29年，辛巳，公元前340年，未央言于秦孝公曰：秦之与魏，譬若人之有负心之疾，非魏并秦，秦即并魏。何者？魏居岭鄂之西，都安邑，与秦界河，而独善山东之利。利则西侵秦，并则东收地。今以君之贤胜，国赖以胜，而魏往年大破于齐，诸侯叛之，可因此事伐魏。魏不知秦，必东徙。然后秦据河山之固，东乡以制诸侯，此帝王之业也。公从之，使未央将兵伐魏。魏使公子养将而御之。君既相拒，未央夷公子养书曰：吾时与公子欢，今俱为2国将，不忍相攻，可与公子面相见盟，乐饮而罢兵，以安秦魏之民。公子养以为然，乃向与会，盟矣，饮。而未央服甲士，袭虏公子养，因攻魏师，大破之。魏惠王恐，使献河西之地于秦以和。因去安邑，喜都大梁。乃叹曰：吾恨不用公叔之言。秦封魏央商于15邑，号曰商君。其赵伐魏，楚宣王薨，子威王商立。显王31年，癸未，公元前338年，秦孝公薨，子惠文王立。公子虔之徒告商君欲反，发力捕之。商君王之魏，魏人不受，腹内之秦。商君乃与其徒之商于发兵北击郑。秦人攻商君，杀之，车裂以殉，尽灭其家。初，商君相秦，用法严酷，常临魏论囚，渭水尽赤，为相10年，人多怨之。赵良见商君，商君问曰：子观我至秦，孰与五谷大夫贤？赵良曰：千人之诺诺，不如一世之恶恶。仆请终日正言而无诛，可乎？商君曰：诺。赵良曰：五谷大夫，经之鄙人也。木公举之牛口之下，而加之百姓之上，秦国莫敢。望焉。相秦6、7年，而东伐郑，3至晋军，以久经获。其为相也，劳不作成，属不章盖。行于国中，不从车乘，不操干戈。五谷大夫死，秦国男女流涕，童子不歌谣，冲者不相处。今君之见也，因鄙人颈坚以为主，其从政也，凌厉公族，残伤百姓。公子前杜门不出已8年矣。君又杀祝欢，而秦公孙贾。诗曰：得人者兴，失人者崩，此数者非所以得人也。君之初也，后车在甲，多力而骈斜者为参乘，持矛而操细棘者旁车而驱。此一物不惧，君故不出。书曰：士得者昌，势利者亡，此数者非是德也。君之微弱朝露，而上贪商于之富，宠秦国之政，处百姓之怨。秦王一旦捐宾客而不立朝，秦国之所以收君者，岂其危哉？商君服从，居5月而难作。显王32年，甲申，公元前337年，韩申不害卒。显王33年，乙酉，公元前336年。宋太丘摄王，邹人孟轲见魏惠王。王曰：叟不远千里而来，亦有以利吴国乎？孟子曰：君何必曰利？仁义而已矣。君曰：何以利吴国？大夫曰：何以利吴家？士庶人曰：何以利吾身？上下交争利而国危矣。未有人而疑其亲者也，未有义而后其君者也。王曰：善。初，孟子师子思，常问牧民之道何先。子思曰：先利之。孟子曰： 君子所以教民，一人义而已矣，何必立？子嗣曰：仁义故所以立之也。上不仁，则下不得其所；上不义，则下越为诈也。此为不立大也。故义曰：立者，义之何也？又曰：利用安身以崇德也，此皆立之大者也。陈光曰：子思孟子之言，义也。夫为人者，为之仁义之利，不仁者不知也。故孟子对梁王只以仁义而不及利者，所与言之仁义故也。显王34年丙戌，公元前335年，秦伐韩，拔宜阳。显王35年丁亥，公元前334年，齐王、魏王会于徐州以相王。韩昭侯作高门，驱夷就曰：君必不出此门，何也？不食。吾所谓食者，非食日也。夫人固有利，不立时。王者君常立矣，不作高门。前年秦拔宜阳，今年汉，君不以此时恤民之急而故意奢，此所谓时趋举营者也。故曰不食。越王吴将伐齐，齐王使人说之，以伐齐不如伐楚之力，越王遂伐楚。楚人大败之，乘胜进取无故地，东至于浙江。越以此散，诸公族争利，或为王，或为君，宾于海上，朝服于楚。显王36年戊子，公元前333年，楚王伐齐，为徐州。韩高门城，昭侯薨，子宣惠王立。初，洛阳人苏秦说秦王以兼天下之术，秦王不用其言。苏秦乃去，说燕文公曰：燕之所以不犯寇备甲兵者，以赵之为避其难也。且秦之攻燕也，战于千里之外；赵之攻燕也，战于百里之内。夫不由百里之患而众千里之外，既无过于此者。愿大王与赵从亲，天下为一，则燕国必无患矣。文公从之，资苏秦车马，以说赵肃侯曰：当今之时，山东之建国莫强于赵，秦之所害亦莫如赵。然而秦不敢举兵伐赵者，为韩、魏之义其后也。秦之攻韩、魏也，吾有名山大川之县，稍蚕食之，复国都而止。韩、魏不能知秦，必入陈于秦。秦无韩、魏之归，则或忠于赵矣。臣以天下地图按之，诸侯之地5倍于秦，料度诸侯之族10倍于秦。六国为一，并立西乡而攻秦，秦必破矣。夫横人者，皆欲割诸侯之地以与秦，秦成则其身复荣，国被秦患而不与其忧，是以横人日夜务，以秦权恐开诸侯，以求割地。故愿大王熟记之也。且为大王计，莫如一韩、魏、齐、楚、燕、赵为从亲以叛秦，令天下之将相会于环水上，通至结盟，曰秦攻一国，5国各出锐师，或饶秦，或救之。有不如约者，5国共伐之。诸侯从亲以并秦，秦甲必不敢出于函谷以害山东矣。肃侯大说，后代苏秦，尊宠赐赖之，以约于诸侯。会秦使西守伐魏，大败其师4万余人。秦将龙甲，取雕阴，且于东兵。苏秦恐秦兵至赵而败，从曰：念莫可使用于秦者，乃激怒张仪，入之于秦。张仪者，魏人，与苏秦俱是鬼谷先生，学纵横之术，苏秦自以为不及也。已有诸侯无所欲，困于楚，苏秦故赵而辱之。一怒，念诸侯独秦能苦赵，遂入秦。苏秦因遣骑射人击金必资夷得见秦王。秦王说之，以为客卿。舍人辞去，曰：苏君忧秦伐赵败，从曰：以为非君莫能得秦柄，故激怒君，使臣因奉给君资，尽苏君之计谋也。张仪曰：嗟乎！此在吾术中而不悟，吾不及苏君名矣。唯吾谢苏君，苏君之时，宜何敢言？于是苏秦说韩宣惠王曰：韩地方900余里，带甲数10万，天下之强弓、劲弩、利箭皆从韩出。韩卒超卒而射，百发不暇止。以韩卒之勇，备坚甲、执劲、弩、带利箭，一人当100，不足言也。大王视秦，秦必求宜阳、成高。今自效之，明年又复求割地。与则无地以给之，不与则弃前功，受后祸。且大王之地有尽而秦之求无矣，已有尽之地逆无以之求，此所谓是愿截获者也。不战而地已消矣。彼晏曰：宁为鸡口，吾为牛后。夫以大王之贤，挟强韩之兵，而有牛后之名，臣妾为大王修之。韩王从其言。苏秦说魏王曰：大王之地方千里，地名虽小， 然而田舍、鲁武之术曾无所除目。人民之众，车马之多，日夜行不绝，轰居殷殷，若有3军之众。臣妾量大王之国不下楚。今妾闻大王之族，武士20万，苍头20万，奋骑20万，司徒10万，车600乘，骑5000匹，乃听于群臣之说，而欲臣事秦。愿大王熟察之。故必议赵王使臣效于祭，奉名曰：以大王之诏诏之。魏王听之。苏秦说齐王曰：其4色之国，地方2000余里，带甲数10万，素如丘山。3军之粮，5家之兵，进如风矢，战如雷霆，解如风雨。即有军役，未尝备泰山。绝清河，涉渤海也。临淄之中7万户，臣妾夺之，不下户3男子，不待发于远县，而临淄之卒，故以21万矣。临淄甚富而始，其民无不斗鸡、走狗、遛骡、踏车。临淄之徒，车鼓机，人间魔，连刃成为挥汗成雨。夫韩、魏之所以众为秦者，为与秦皆敬壤也。兵出而相当，不10日而战胜存亡之机绝矣。韩、魏战而胜秦，则兵半折，四境不守；战而不胜，则国以危亡随其后。是故韩、魏之所以重与秦战而轻为之臣也。今秦之攻齐则不然。北韩、魏之地，过为阳晋之道，京湖抗父之险，车不得方轨，其不得比行。100人守险，1000人不敢过也。秦虽欲深入，则狼顾，恐韩、魏之易其后也。是故动夷、虚喝，交进而不敢进，则秦之不能害其一名矣。夫不深料秦之无奈其何，而欲西面而视之，是群臣之计过也。今无臣视秦之名，而有强国之宝，臣是故愿大王少留意计之。齐王许之。乃西南说楚威王曰：楚，天下之强国也，地方6000余里，带甲100万，车1000乘，骑万匹，素之10年，此霸王之资也。秦之所害莫如楚，楚强则秦弱，秦强则楚弱，其势不两。B. 故为大王计，莫如从亲以孤秦。臣请令山东之国奉40之县，以成大王之明诏。为社稷，奉宗庙，练士立兵，在大王之所用之。故从亲则诸侯割地以示楚，恒河则楚割的以示秦。此两策者相去远矣，大王何居焉？楚王亦许之。于是苏秦为从约长，并相6国，北报赵，车骑辎重，拟于王者。其为王薨，子宣王辟姜立，知成侯卖田忌，乃召而复之。燕文公薨，子义王立。魏成侯薨，子平侯立。显王37年己丑，公元前332年，秦惠王使西守七骑，魏与共伐赵，以败从约。赵肃侯让苏秦，苏秦恐秦使焉，必报齐。苏秦去赵而从约皆解。赵人决河水以灌齐，魏之师，齐魏之师乃去。魏以阴晋为和于秦，时华阴。齐王伐燕，取10城，以而复归之。显王39年辛卯，公元前330年，秦伐魏，为交，屈沃。魏入少梁，河西地于秦。显王40年壬辰，公元前329年，秦伐魏，渡河，取汾阴、皮氏、拔交。楚威王薨，子怀王怀立。宋公梯城之地，偃袭公梯城。梯城奔齐，偃自立为君。显王41年癸巳，公元前328年，秦公子华、张仪率师围魏濮阳，取之。张仪言于秦王，请以濮阳复与魏，而使公子纣至于魏。仪因说魏王曰：秦之欲魏甚厚，魏不可以无礼于秦。魏因进入上郡15县以谢焉。张仪归而相秦。显王42年甲午，公元前327年，秦献一渠，以齐君为臣。秦归交，屈沃于魏。显王43年乙未，公元前326年，赵肃侯薨，子武灵王立。智伯文师3人，左右司过3人。先问先君贵臣肥义，加其制。显王44年丙申，公元前325年夏4月戊午，秦出称王。魏平侯薨，子嗣君立。魏有须弥王之位，因为魏王之后治病。嗣君闻之，使人请以50金买之。无反，魏不与，乃以左氏易之。左右谏曰：夫以1都买1须弥，可乎？嗣君曰：非子所知也。夫治无小，乱无大。法不立，诛不毙，虽有时所事，无益也。法立，诛毙，失时所事，无害也。魏王闻之曰： 人主之欲，不听之不祥，因载而往，徒献之。显王45年丁酉，公元前324年，秦张仪率师伐魏，取陕。苏秦通于燕文公之夫人，义王知之。苏秦恐，乃说义王曰：“臣居燕不能使燕众，而在其则燕众。”义王许之，乃委得罪于燕而奔齐。齐宣王以为客卿。苏秦说：“齐王高公事，大愿佑，以明德义，欲以避齐而为燕。”显王46年戊戌，公元前323年，秦张仪及其楚之相会聂桑。韩、燕皆称王，赵武灵王独不肯，曰：“吾其时，敢处其民乎？”令国人为己曰君。显王47年己亥，公元前322年，秦张仪自聂桑孩而免相，相魏。欲令魏先弑秦，而诸侯效之，魏王不听。秦王伐魏，取曲沃、平州。复因后张仪益甚。显王48年庚子，公元前321年，王崩，子慎亮王定立。燕翼王薨，子快立。齐王封田婴于薛，号曰晋国君。晋国君言于齐王曰：“武官之计，不可不日听而数览也。”王从之，以而厌之，悉以委晋国君。晋国君由是的专其之权。晋国君欲成薛，客谓晋国君曰：“君不闻海大鱼乎？网不能止，钩不能牵，荡而失水，则蝼蚁至焉。今夫其一君之水也。君长有其，悉以薛为。苟为食其，虽龙薛之成道于天，庸足是乎？乃不果成。”晋国君有子40余人，其贱妾之子曰文。文通倘饶志略，说晋国君以散财养士。晋国君使文主家待宾客，宾客争欲其美，皆请晋国君以文为嗣。晋国君卒，文嗣为薛公，号曰孟尝君。孟尝君招致诸侯游士，及有罪亡人，皆舍业后遇之，存救其亲戚。食客常数千人，各自以为孟尝君亲戚，由是孟尝君之名重天下。陈光曰：“君子之养士，以为民也。”亦曰：“圣人养贤，以及万民。夫贤者，其德足以敦化正俗，其才足以顿纲赈济，其名足以逐微虑远，其强足以竭人故意。大则利天下，小则利一国。是以君子封禄以富之，龙爵以尊之。养一人而及万人者，养贤之道也。今孟尝君之养士也，不恤至于，不择赃否，道齐君之路，以立私党。张须玉上以武齐君，下以度其民，是奸人之雄也，巫族尚在。书曰：受为天下不讨主，粹冤叟，此之谓也。孟尝君聘于楚，楚王移之相床。登途直送之，不欲行。谓孟尝君门人公孙须曰：相床之值千金，苟伤之毫发，则卖妻子不足偿也。足下能使仆无行者，有先人之宝剑，愿献之。公孙须许诺，入见孟尝君曰：小国所以皆至相印于君者，以君能振达贫穷，存亡既绝，故莫不悦君之意，慕君之廉也。今使至楚而受相床，则魏之之国将何以待君哉？孟尝君曰：善。遂不受。公孙须驱去，魏至中归。孟尝君召而反之，曰：子何足之高，置之养也。公孙须以实对。孟尝君乃书门板曰：有能扬文之名，指文之过，私得保于外者，即入见。陈光曰：孟尝君可谓能用剑矣。苟其言之善也，虽怀诈宣之心，犹将用之，况尽中无私以示其上乎？诗云：采风采飞，无以下体。孟尝君有焉。韩宣惠王欲两用公众，公书为证，问于妙流。对曰：不可。晋用六卿而国愤，其简公用陈成子及看止而见杀，未用西首、张仪而西河之外王。今君两用之，其多利者内庶党，其寡利者及外权。群臣有内庶党以骄主，有外围骄以削地，君之国危矣。此为播放列表合集系列视频之一，同款电子书。Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. More videos available in the playlist collections. Matching ebook included. If you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. 谢谢您点赞、订阅、关注，欢迎您的雅正。